would ride with the door slightly open with one foot sticking out onto the running board, so I guess he could jump into the ditch if things got too dicey. Greg thought this was pretty funny, so he went back to the Starry Sea, got out his guitar, and wrote an entire song about Nimrod with one foot on the running board. I have a video of the premiere performance. Another time, he told me he had a funny moment with Val when she asked him from the other room whether he had dried the glass and stainless. He didn't quite hear, and his brain's translation was something about Black Bear and Seamus. That was all I needed to hear, so I got busy and wrote a poem about Black Bear and Seamus. The good times were numerous, but there were also touching moments. Julie had a heart attack at the tender age of 53. It just came out of the blue. I took her to the hospital in Hyannis in the middle of the night. There's not much traffic on 28 at 3 a.m. When it looked like she was going to be okay, I went home to pick up her sister, who was staying with us, to bring her to see Julie. On the way, I stopped by Greg and Val's cottage to tell them what had happened. Greg gave me a big, long hug, and I burst into tears. It was one of the warmest, most compassionate things I've ever experienced. I'm going to miss Greg, but I have precious memories that will remain with me throughout my days. Here's to you, Greg. Love you. So I'm not going to tell any stories today because I would have you here forever, because living with Greg all the years I did give me so many wonderful stories. But I do want to thank, again, all of you for coming. Some of you came a long way. I have former colleagues, I have former students, I have my friends from the Cape, I have friends from getting to know family, I have my family, I have Greg's family, and they're all my family. I have my LRB family. It's just, I'm so grateful for all of you to be here. And I have to shout out at my neighbor too, because he's a great guy. Give him a round of applause. I don't know. He saves me all the time, and especially when propane tanks explode at my house.
All right, so are there any takers? And I guess if I'm acting as the MC, I guess I need to be the one who starts things off. I will say it's a pleasure to see so many administrators and teachers from Regional 7 here. I don't want to date any of you, but I did graduate 30 years ago, so... But it's actually 30 years ago or so, maybe a couple more than that, that my story with Greg started. And it was actually with his daughter, Kate. Kate was a year behind me in high school. So I knew Kate well before I ever knew Greg. However, my relationship with Greg started really because of my friends Nate, Matt, and Nils, and their relationship with him and getting this great brewery started and up and running. I'm sure others will mention it, but if it wasn't for him and his guidance and his leadership, we probably wouldn't be here right now celebrating his life. So that's the first thing I need to acknowledge for Greg. But, you know, I haven't known Greg nearly as long as most of you here, only going back 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. And even in that short amount of time, the friendship and the way he welcomed you into his family and into his friendship was unprecedented. Every time I saw him, helping him with this audio setup when he played music, whether I went to his house, whether we went to Nate or Matt's house to play, it was like I had known him for all of my 48 years. So some of the most precious moments that I've had knowing him was playing music, obviously hanging out here, but I also had the honor of sitting with him a couple of weeks before he passed at his home, and he and I talked about life and death and his outlook and his vision of what a great life he had, and mentioning Val every single moment that he could, and all the friends and family that he had was just inspiring. I had asked him whether he was afraid of passing on, and he was not. His outlook was so tremendous and inspiring that it's something that I will remember until my last breath. And the way that he lived his life was just something that I think all of us can take from and draw from. So, thank you. All right, so I started. Who else would like to come up? Anyone? Come on, don't be shy. All right.
So I was 13 or 14 years old when Greg took me under his wing and started teaching me how to cook. He taught me the ins and outs of traditional European cuisine, mostly French. And he shared a bunch of his secrets with me. At least that's what he said to me. He shared with me his pâté recipe. I promised him I would never tell anyone, but I guess that's cat's out of the bag now. Eventually, I ended up becoming his quote-unquote assistant in the program he taught at Regional. So I was a sophomore assisting seniors in their culinary labs, essentially, which was pretty awesome as a sophomore. I thought I was the bee's knees. Because of him, though, I developed a love of food, a love of cooking, a love of French cuisine. And I got a couple jobs at different restaurants until I eventually went to culinary school, where, funny story, one of my chef professors told me to drop out of culinary school because I already knew what I was doing and I didn't need them to teach me anything, and it was a waste of my money and their time. So I did. I dropped out of culinary school and I got a business degree and ended up becoming the personal chef for the vice president of Johnson & Wales, which, again, I credit to Greg. Absolutely. Like, that man taught me how to make one hell of a jelly omelet. After Akil, his kids grew up, they didn't need me anymore, so I became a GM at a restaurant in Providence and was kind of floating through life until my sister called me one day and told me the Colbrook store was for sale. And now I own the Colbrook store. But I would not be here, I would not be standing here, I would not be living here today if it weren't for Greg. That man changed my life. I was studying to be a lawyer. God, why? Now I can actually make people happy with what I do. But Greg was amazing. He changed my life incredibly. Taught me how to cook, taught me how to love food, taught me how to make hollandaise sauce. Like that man, he knew what the hell he was doing. But yeah, just wanted to share that little memory that I have of him and how I kind of accredit my entire life to this man. Wouldn't be where I am right now.
So in a few minutes, we're going to be having some music, courtesy of J.D. Williams and Jeff Blaney. Later, Nathan Day, one of the owners and the head brewer here at LRB, will be playing as well. If anyone else would like to join, feel free. But in the meantime, we have our next speaker.
So before Greg became a good chef, he was my brother. And I don't know, we were young. We delivered papers, the Hartford Courant, early in the morning. And he had one route and I had another route, and the two of us would finish our routes. And then later in the week, we'd go collecting the money. And then we figured out come time for Lent, and it was like, what are we going to do? And I said, why don't we, being almost a seminarian that I was at the time, why don't we go to Mass after we finish the papers every day? And he said, what the hell do we want to do that for? And I said, it could be interesting. And so here we did. We finished our paper routes, dropped our bikes off, and we went down to Corpus Christi on Saddlestein Highway, did the Mass, and then afterwards we walked across the street to what, in my opinion, was still one of the best donut shops in the world. That's right, Puritan Donuts. And what did we do? We bought a whole tray of hot cross buns because we loved them. And on the way home, we'd eat the whole tray of hot cross buns because we didn't want Mom and Dad to know we were doing this. And that was his first introduction to good culinary food. And for that, love you, bro.
Okay, quick change of plans, I guess. My wife, Carolyn, was going to read this. So this is for her dad, Tim, who can't be with us today. So I'm just going to read. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, one of Greg's brothers. Sorry. Like I said, last minute change of plan here. So you'll just have to bear with me a little bit here. Okay. I can't be with you on this day to celebrate Greg's life. So I've asked Brian, now Carolyn, now me, Nick, to convey some of my thoughts with you. So please indulge me for a few minutes. Greg and I became closer many years ago while I was traveling to Connecticut for UConn alumni work, and he and Val were in the early stages of their relationship. From those nights discussing our lives and providing support and advice to each other over some whiskeys, to attending Diana Krall concerts, visiting at the Cape, golfing with Brian, calling him up to get advice on cooking techniques and ingredients, and of course, to cooking together in Riverton at the Cape, Thanksgiving celebrations in Chadds Ford. Greg was actually Tim's sous chef. I can attest to that. I was there. Even our version of a great British bake-off with Mark. A multiple-day sourdough babka recipe, hope I said that right, that we each baked simultaneously at our homes. Throughout the years, there was always love, support, and lots of laughter. A year ago, there was a lot of sadness and grief as Greg faced the end of his life with the dignity I can only hope to replicate. Since then, a glass of whiskey or a craft beer with friends and family, a song, preparing and sharing a meal, a photo, and oh so many other things trigger a happy memory, a remembrance of Greg's joy for life, for his family, his friends, and the love of his wife, Val. So raise a glass and toast him. How do I say that? Slanja. Okay. Thank you.
Val and I have a couple things in common. Cancer sucks. We both lost our amazing husbands to cancer. But I have a funny story about the first time I really spoke to Jeff. Greg. It was at the GoFundMe fundraiser at Rowley that Little Red Barn guys had, and I was there, and I knew Greg was a Irish fella and that he sang really well, and I had learned a few years earlier about the song Carrickfergus. Check it out if you've never heard it. So I introduced myself to him and asked him if he could sing it. And so he got up to the microphone, took me with him, and thank you. And he started singing. He lost some of the lyrics, and he laughed and just kind of faked it. And then he got to the part in the song where it says, "But I'll say no more now till I have a drink." And he reached over to Nate, who had a beer in his hand. And he did finish off the song, and then we gave a big hug. And that was my first and favorite memory of that awesome man. Thank you. Hi.
We're
Right
live
here?
streaming it, so
Oh,
everyone needs to hear.
hello. Oh, this ball is kind of in my eye. I'm Nancy Dyer, and I can speak in behalf of our knowing of Val and Greg in two ways. One is that they were the teachers of our children when they went through Northwest Regional. And I can say that the kids, it was the hottest thing to be able to get into Greg Hoffman's cooking class. Okay, I mean, you're the bomb if you've made it into his class because it's a lot of fun, and it was for the kids. And I think it was a great diversion from other aspects of education, which are very important. And they would bring home the recipes, so I still hold on to some of these recipes that they had, the banana bread and the muffins and everything. So they were. We live in Riverton. We lived on one side of Riverton, and then while the kids were in high school, we crossed over to the other side of Riverton. But Val and Greg were right in the middle, and they were the kids' teachers. But as they grow older, they go to college, and they come home, and then they saw them as different people. And different people in a way of just being a lot of fun to be with. We used to host wine parties. And one time, I think we had 80 people at this party. It was a lot of wine bottles. I mean, we had to have help, right, Val, that night? Yes. That night, we had to help. It was a job just to open up the bottles, and managing the bottles. And so I think Val and Greg were there at a couple of them, and one of my memories of that night was by the end of the evening, we're all like a little tipsy, and I've got a plate of cookies or something, and I whirled around, and it all landed in their lap, something like that. It was something of that nature, Val, and. We just had a great time, and now my children are in their 30s, and they come back home. Now they're back home with their babies, okay? And so a tradition all the time was to go down to Riverton and trick-or-treat and go see Val and Greg. And I did give Val a picture of our children. If any of you know our children, there they are is that video here or no? Is that video here or no? No, okay. But anyway, we gave her a video of the children trick-or-treating, and they were all ladybugs and everything, and it was just so sweet to go to their house and have such wonderful memories from such a long time ago. And I miss him. I missed him this year. This year was very different. And so we're blessed to have known them. We're blessed to have Val here to carry on. And that's all I have to say.
I'm Brian. Well, since you heard about me from Tim's, I figured I better own up to that. You've heard a lot of people talk about Greg. He was number 3, Dennis is number 1, I'm there, and the rest of us are here. Drew is here. Tim unfortunately could not be here. Chris unfortunately could not be here either. He's ill in Florida. Mark is here from England. Mary Beth, our beloved sister, is here. Jeff is here. The one thing that Greg taught all of us, I think, is how to be brothers and sisters, how to care for each other, how to care for other people, not just our family, but every family. You hear the stories about him teaching, the stories about him cooking, the stories about him brewing, but they're all stories about him living. He did a great job of that. We miss him. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to try to get through this. If I get a little emotional, don't mind me. I was like, oh, I can handle this. And I'm like, oh, shit. What would Dad do? So, I'm Carl, Greg's son. I just want to say thank you very much for coming out here today. It really means a lot to the whole family. He did a lot for a lot of people. He was a good guy. But one of the things he taught me was, work hard, do well, no matter what you do. So I go off to college, and I'm going to go into the arts. And Dad, being a businessman's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And I'm like, come on, I'm going to... He's like, all right, fine, get your degree, whatever, it's great. So I graduate from college, and Dad leaves Aetna. So he jokes, he's like, okay, this is a party. We're both unemployed. Yay! It's like, okay, great. So he's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to go to London. And I got to stay with my lovely uncle and aunt, and Dad's like, I'm coming with you, because I'm going to be a chef. I'm like, oh. Excellent. So here's my dad going back to doing something he really wanted to do. When I was a kid, he liked to cook, always enjoyed cooking. And then he got the chance to really be a cook and chefing and his love of food, and it was great. So he's going to classes. Mark and I are eating wonderfully. I probably gained about 20 pounds in the first month there. And all I had to do was be the guy cleaning the kitchen. I'm like, oh, great, fine, no problem. So it was a really great opportunity for both of us. So he's learning. I was learning how to be a production manager in a country I was a little bit unfamiliar with, and that started me on my career in the arts. And so we both had a nice beginning to our new careers together, and that meant a lot to me, because he's like, you know what? Do what you want to do. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I love. And that's one of the things he really taught to me, is like, if you're going to do anything, embrace it wholeheartedly. Do it with the passion and the love, and I could tell he had that with cooking. And it's funny, you can say my dad was a gourmet all you want, but one day I come home from work up in northern London. He goes, hey, come here, I got something. I'm like, what? He pulls out, and this is back, we gotta remember, early 90s. He pulls out a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos. I'm like, where did you get that? He goes, I got connections. So next thing you know, my dad and I are drinking a couple pints and eating Cool Ranch. Marx comes home, he's like, what is this? I'm like, Cool Ranch Doritos. And Dad, being the gourmet guy, he loved his Cool Ranch Doritos. Go figure. But I digress. So years later, Dad and Val are doing great. Dad's cooking, and I get tickets to him to see a show that he and Val really wanted to see, which was Joe Jackson and Todd Rundgren. And at the time, I got the privilege of running and designing the lights for that show. And during the show, Joe Jackson's playing. He stops. He goes, hey, wow, look at these lights. They look great. And I felt good because I got complimented on what I did, and he saw it. And afterward, he came up, gave me a hug, and was like, I'm like, okay, he gets it. And I just want to say that's the one thing I loved about Dad, because no matter what you did, as long as you stayed out of trouble for the most part, which we tried, but if you did what you love and you showed that love to others and you just had that passion, that's it. And I'm glad to see he shared it with so many of you, whether it was cooking, beer with the guys, love of, fishing. I'm still a Red Sox fan. Sorry, I'm a diehard Red Sox fan because of my dad. And half our family were Yankees fans. We won't even go there with that. But just the fact that my dad wanted to make sure that everybody did what you love, and he made sure that everybody felt that way about everything. And just, it's a good legacy to live on. So I have some big shoes to fill. So thanks for coming out. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks to the guys here. Thanks to my lovely mother, Val. Thank you so much.
Hello. So I had the privilege of being close friends with Greg for about 21 years. And as you can, I'm welling up, right? The one thing I wanted to say about him, and I think it's something that always sticks with me, because there's something about the energy that Greg gave off that was so positive and so inspiring. And I never became a professional chef, but like many others, I learned a tremendous amount about cooking from Greg. And we would have holiday dinners together. He would come over our house, and we'd try and experiment together and work together. And I always knew that I wasn't really doing the kind of French cooking like that he could do, right? But he always made me feel like I was. He always made me feel like what I was doing was worthwhile. And Jim, you're growing and you're getting better. I don't want to lose saying that one memory of Greg, because I think it's so important, because anyone who knows him knows that he was the best mentor that anyone could ever have. Incredible. So I feel like that was a gift that he gave me in his life, and I think there's probably a lot of other people here sitting today that feel the same way.
Well, it seemed like a good idea before I started drinking at 9:30 this morning. Just kidding, Mom and Dad. It was 10. So, my name is Nils Johnson. For those of you who don't know me, along with Matt and Nate, we are the owners of Little Red Barn Brewers. We're honored to share this day with you. So I was thinking, what's the best way to honor Greg? And I had some really horrible ideas I won't share with you. But Greg loved to write. So I thought, I'll write a poem. So about 4 or 5 months ago, I started, and it had a great title, Hearts, Hops, and Rock Until You're Old. 3 months later, I had a nice title, Hearts, Hops, Rock Until You're Old. So I went a different approach. I wrote a short story. And it was my memories of my last day of visiting Greg, spending time with him. And it's only 5 pages. I can't see for shit, so I had to keep the font, so no one be too worried. So it's called The Last Joke by Nils Johnson. I got the text I've been anxiously waiting for. Nils, he's having a good afternoon if you wish to visit. I also got the text I was dreading. It was not just a green light for a visit. It was a day I was going to say goodbye to a dear friend. As I drove to the village of Riverton, I was remembering the first time Greg told me about his diagnosis. It was the 7th hole of the Canadian golf course. Greg was laying the news on me. I remember looking at the scorecard. He was up by 2 strokes. Despite by my calculation, he swung his club 6 more times than me. Funny things we remember. It seems like hours went by before he stopped talking and took a breath. And my response was priceless, or perhaps it was classless. But something along the lines, if you're trying to get me to take it easy on you, you got another thing coming. In a nutshell, that was our friendship. When he was having a bad day, he would reach out to me. More times than not, I would get a text, let's play cribbage. In my home, that was code for let's drink too much patties and talk about the news I just got. I didn't mind going. But with each painful update, It was always followed by an inappropriate joke by me. For laughter is the best medicine. Believe you me, I have a whole prescription pad full of bad jokes. But let the record show, this is why Greg confided in me. He wanted to be treated like Greg the friend, not like Greg the cancer patient. As I pull into Hoffman's highway, it hits me like a ton of bricks. Today, I'm not just saying goodbye to my dear friend. I was going to be telling him perhaps the last joke he ever hears. Holy shit, what pressure. Would I be gonged off the stage, or would my performance end with a standing ovation? I was hoping my critic was feeling generous. I slowly marched across the porch, knocked on the door, nervously waited for the door to open a crack. I can only think this is how the door-to-door encyclopedia salesman felt prior to knocking on the door, not knowing what to expect when the door opened to the home. Would it be a warm hello or a kiss-off from an illiterate family? The door slowly opened, and I was greeted with a warm embrace from the head nurse, Valerie. I was already doing better than that salesman. I bet he never got a hug. The air in the room was thick with anticipation of what was about to come. Time nervously moved forward, seeming quicker inside of these four walls than out. The house had a strange vortex with Greg in the center. His eyes lit up upon seeing me. Such a strange moment, seeing the man I admire living in a living room with a Winnie the Pooh privacy screen nearby. Needless to say, it's a sight I'll never forget. First thing Greg said to me, Nils, you have to sit in my recliner. Did anyone sit in that goddamn recliner? It was amazing. That was off script, by the way. The customary hello was forgotten, and rightfully so. Oh my God, this chair accepted my ass like a lifelong soulmate. This chair was magnificent and warrants its own story, but we'll do that another day. After a few moments of small talk, I asked Greg, do you know what time it is? His simple response, lay it on me. The curtain slowly went up, the house lights dimmed, a glaring spotlight was shining on me like a train exiting a dark tunnel. My forehead began to sweat, kind of like now. My hands were clenched tightly. A passerby might have thought I was trying to turn coal into a diamond. It was showtime. A person should think long and hard about what joke they're going to tell a friend in the weaning moments of life. Really wish I was that type of person. My moment of brilliance was to tell a dying man a joke about death. As Fat Albert would say, Nils like school on Sunday, no class. So here we go, guys. Perhaps a lot of you will actually know this joke. And I ask you to, when I get to the punchline, if you know it, say it out loud, because that's exactly what Greg did when I told him this joke. So Bob and Joe were best friends since grade school. They did everything together, but their true love was baseball. They loved baseball so much they made a pact. The first one to die would come back and advise the other if there was baseball in heaven. Bob passed away first. On the one-year anniversary of his passing, he appeared in front of Joe as promised. Joe was filled with excitement. So Bob, you have to tell me, is there baseball in heaven? I have some good news and some bad news. Yes, there is baseball in heaven, but you're pitching tomorrow. So as the last syllable rolled off my tongue, I simply stared into the spotlight, awaiting my critic's response. Felt like the singer in American Idol, waiting for the harsh rebuke from Simon. The response I got back was classic Greg. You know, that little shitty grin he used to get on his face like he knew something that no one else did? But with that grin, it was accompanied by this giant middle finger. It was a one finger lay in a bed ovation. On a scale of 1 to 1, I scored a 1. We spoke for a few more moments, and unfortunately, he started to slowly slip into his world of fantasy. I swear he was talking about slaying dragons and proceeded debating who paid the dinner tab. He faintly spoke about how it was unfair that I had to pay for the whole amount of the conical fermenter. His slow words transformed into a slow, labored breathing. The silence in the room was deafening. With each breath, the walls expanded and contracted. The clock counted off the seconds with a thunderous tick-tock. I finally understood the insanity of Poe's unnamed villain. I think the story was Telltale Hops. Somewhere in the distance, I heard a strange yet familiar voice singing, time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping. Was I going to slip into sanity? Perhaps. I shook my head, slapped my face to retain the last shred of sanity. I realized at that moment I too was a villain. My crime was stealing time from Valerie. These last moments were not meant for me, they were meant for Greg's soulmate. The clocks on the hands were moving at a breakneck speed. No way they could keep up this pace. I had to excuse myself and leave prior to the gears breaking and everything coming to a screeching halt. I reluctantly pulled myself out of the chair, slowly headed to the door. Then out of nowhere, a deafening silence was broken by a thunderous roar. The room was full of energy, the lights were brighter, and the air was so electrified my hair stood on end. You're not trying to leave without a goodbye hug. I slowly turned to Greg in a mousy voice. No, well, not now, sir. For the last time, I faced my friend, all of them. He was awakened. There was a light in his eyes, a smile on his face. And I'll never forget the last words he said to me as we embraced. Thank you for being my friend. Take care of your girls, and have yourself a good life. He must have summoned all his strength for that moment, for as quickly as he woke, his head was back on the pillow in his world of fantasy. I escaped to my car. Time started to proceed at its proper pace. The vortex was broken. The heat must have been on high in my car, for my eyes began to sweat little drops of love. I looked in my rearview mirror. I swear I saw the spotlight go dim, the curtains come down, the house lights go up. The performance came to the end. My last thought as I sped away to nowhere, we nailed it. The Last Stroke by Nils Johnson.
Well, we're going to be starting the music here in a couple of minutes. If anyone else wants to come up, you can do it now, or you can interrupt the musicians mid-song, if it so strikes you. I don't think Jeff or JD will mind one bit. So, if not, we'll get JD and Jeff up here in a couple of minutes.
Go for it.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't just say something briefly about my friend, fellow educator, fellow guitar picker, fellow fisherman. It's like the movie As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt. He made you want to be a better person. And from what I've heard today from family, friends, cohorts, workers, that's what he did. He made you want to be a better person. I don't think you can give anything finer to humanity than what Greg did for people. I miss you.
Mistero è chiuso in me. ye, I heard a maid complain, setting forth her lamentations down by yon purling stream, saying here I lie confined in the constant bands of love, all by a handsome sailor lad that did in constant crew. It's so you Belfast mountains, can you bring me no relief? Have you got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my grief? Have you got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my pain? For it's hard to love an old sweetheart and not be loved again. She twined her arms around my neck just as we were going to part. She twined her arms around my neck, saying, "You're my old sweetheart." She twined her arms around my neck like the branches of yon vine, saying, "Jamie Carew, Jamie, you have broke this heart of mine." It's so you Belfast mountains, can you bring me no relief? Have you got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my grief? You got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my pain. For it's hard to love an old sweetheart and not be loved again.
Oh boy. Are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, I know, right. Exactly.
Oh, may you never prosper, nor may
Sure, it's
you
expensive.
never
You don't want the camera to
thrive.
break, man. Don't get it too close to my
Any
face.
job you take in hand, as long as you're alive, on the very ground whereon you stand, may the grass refuse to grow, for you're the whole occasion of my sad grief and woe. It's so you Belfast mountains, can you bring me no relief? Have you got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my grief? Have you got no tongue to flatter with, or to ease me of my pain? For it's hard to love an old sweetheart and not be loved again.
You could bring me down. You could bring the guitar down. I'll tell you the keys. I'll try to tell you at least the key before we start tunes, but they're all basic songs. You probably know a bunch of them already. I was thinking about starting with Big Strong Man, which is literally just DNA the whole time. Yeah. I know we don't have a monitor set up, so. Perfect. Sounds great.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to play some music here for you guys. But before we started, I just wanted to say a little something. My relationship with Greg was basically based around Irish music, our mutual love for Irish music. And then as I got to know him, we realized that we shared a lot more than just the Irish music, and we became really good friends. But kind of started and ended with the Irish music. And the other thing that I shared with Greg was that his love for jokes, which Nils was talking about, his love for jokes. And the first time that I saw Greg when I came back from Nashville, I said to him, "Greg, it's good to see you." And of course, Greg's response to that was, "It's better to be seen than viewed." And I thought that was a pretty good joke. And being a lover of jokes myself, I realized that that joke is all in the setup. You need the setup to be able to pull that joke off. So then every time that I saw Greg after that, I made sure that I started my transaction with Greg by saying, "Greg, it's good to see you." And I knew that he would respond by saying, "Better to be seen than viewed." And the last time that I saw him, I saw Greg. Sure enough, I gave him the setup for his joke. "Greg, how you doing? It's good to see you." He said, "It's better to be seen than viewed." And he gave me a look, and I think that he had realized that I knew about his joke and the setup and all of that. And there was a little twinkle in his eye, the way that Greg always had. So anyway, I loved his jokes, and I loved him, and I miss him. And we also talked about this song here. This is a song called "The Big Strong Man." And when I came back from Nashville, my boys had some health issues, and Greg was going through his health issues. And I told him about how I used this song to talk my sons into being brave enough to go into the hospital and do all those scary things. And it's a song called "The Big Strong Man," and I called Greg the Big Strong Man that day, and I think he got a little kick out of that. And it goes like this. This is for Greg. Have you heard about the big strong man? He lives in a caravan. Have you heard about the Jeffrey Johnson fight? Oh Lord, what a hell of a fight. He can take all the heavyweights you got. We got a lad that can beat the whole lot. He used to ring the bells in the belfry. Now he's gonna fight Jack Dempsey. 'Twas me brother Sylvester. 40 medals on his chest. He killed 50 bandmen in the West. He knows no rest. Look at a man, hell's fire, don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for you and me. He's got an arm like a leg and a punch that can sink a battleship. Takes all of the Army and the Navy to put the wind up. Sylvester, he thought he'd take a trip to Italy. He thought he would go by sea. He dived out the harbor in New York. Then he swam like a man made of cork. And he saw the Lusitania in distress. Then he puts a Lusitania on his chest. He drank all the water in the sea. And then he swam all the way to Italy. 'Twas me brother Sylvester. 40 medals on his chest. He killed 50 bad men in the West. He knows no rest. Look at a man, hell's fire, don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for you and me. He's got an arm like a leg and a punch that can sink a battleship. Takes all of the Army and the Navy to put the wind up. Sylvester, he thought he'd take a trip to Japan. So they brought out the old brass band. He played every instrument they got. Like a lad, he played the whole lot. And the old church bells did ring, and the old church choir did sing. They all turned out to bid farewell to me brother Sylvester. 'Twas me brother Sylvester. 40 medals on his chest. He killed 50 bad men in the West. He knows no rest. Look at a man, hell's fire, don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for you and me. He's got an arm like a leg and a punch that could sink a battleship. It takes all of the Army and the Navy to put the wind up. Sylvester, the big strong man, Greg Hoffman.
Nate, you got to get up here, brother. This one's in the key of 6/8.
At Torin Moor in the county Galway, one pleasant evening in the month of May, I spied a damsel. She was young and handsome, her beauty fairly took my breath away. She wore no jewels, nor costly diamonds, no paints nor powder, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. We kept on walking, she kept on talking, till her father's cottage came into view. She said, "Come in, sir, and meet my father, and play to please him the foggy dew." She wore no jewels, nor costly diamond, no paint nor powder, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. She sat me down beside the hearthstone. I could see her father, he was 6 feet tall, and soon her mother had the kettle singing, and all I could think of was the Galway shawl. She wore no jewels, nor costly diamonds, no paints nor powder, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulder was the Galway shawl. I played the blackbird, the stack of barley, Rodney's glory, and the foggy dew. She sang each note like an Irish linnet, and tears welled in her eyes of blue. She wore no jewels, nor costly diamonds, no paint nor powder, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. 'Twas early, early, all in the morning, I hit the road for
old Donegal. She said goodbye, sir. She cried and kissed me, but my heart remains with the Galway shawl. She wore no jewels, nor costly diamonds, no paint nor powder, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. And around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. Yeah. All right. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street, a gentle Irishman, mighty odd. Had a beautiful brogue, both rich and sweet. To rise in the world, he carried a hog. Tim made a sort of tipping way with a love for the liquor. Tim was born to help him on his work each day, and a drop of the crather every morn. Whack for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. One morning Tim fell rather full. His head was heavy, which made him shake. Fell from the ladder and broke his skull. They carried him off, his corpse away, rolled him up in a nice clean sheet and laid him out upon the bed. Gallon of whiskey at his feet and a barrel of porter at his head. Whack for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. His friends assembled at the wake, and Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch. First she brought in tea and cake, then pipes, tobacco, and whiskey punch. Biddy O'Brien began to cry. Such a nice clean corpse did you ever see? Hut Tim born, and why did you die? Or hold your gob, said Paddy McGee. Whack for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Whack for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Then Maggie O'Connor took up the job. Oh, Biddy, says she, you're wrong, I'm sure. Biddy, she gave her a belt in the gob and left her sprawling on the floor. When the war did soon engage, 'twas woman and man to man. Shillelagh law was all the rage, and a row and a ruction soon began. Whack for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Then Mickey Maloney ducked his head when a noggin of whiskey flew at him. Missed and falling on the bed, the liquor splattered over Tim. The corpse revises, see how he rises. Timothy rising from the bed, saying, whirl your whiskey around like blazes. Stanham and Dole, do you think I'm dead? Back for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Back for the darno, dance to your partner, whirl the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake. Yeah, nice solo, man. Yeah, all right, all right. Well, thank you. Black is the color. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love, and well she knows. I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day it soon would come when she and I could be as one. I go to the Clyde, I mourn and weep, for satisfied I never can be. I write her a letter, just a few short lines, and suffer death 1,000 times. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands. I love the ground whereon she stands. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love the ground whereon she stands. Yeah, nice. All right, thank you. To be Irish in New England when the parade goes rolling by reminds me of my grandpa in that Gaelic lullaby. To be Irish in New England gives me a sense of pride, 'cause I know where I'm from and I know where I'm going, way down deep inside. And the fiddly-eye, the fiddly-eye-oh, and the fiddly-eye, tiddly-eye, and the fiddly-eye-oh. To be Irish in New England, on the road on opening day, driving east on the Mass Pike, on our way to Fenway. To be Irish in New England, from New Haven to Southie, from Galway Bay and Dublin town, from Sligo and Kilkenny. And the fiddly-eye, the fiddly-eye-oh, fiddly-eye, tiddly-eye, and the fiddly-eye-oh. be Irish in New England in a pub on St. Paddy's Day. Singing songs with some strangers seems to make us feel the same. To be Irish in New England is the only thing that I know. For better or worse, it'll be with me till it comes my time to go into Fiddly-I-A, into Fiddly-I-O, into Fiddly-I-A, Tiddly-I, into Fiddly-I-O, into Fiddly-I-A, Fiddly-I-O, into Fiddly-I-A, Tiddly-I, into Fiddly-I-O. All right, thank you. Greg liked that song. Oh, here's a nice, easy one. Mary's Wedding. It's again D and G. Over hill ways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown, past the shalings through the town, all for sake of Maddie. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Red her cheeks as Rowan's are, brighter eyes as any star, fairest of them all by far, that's our darling Maddie. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Plenty herring, plenty meal, plenty peat to fill her creel, plenty bonny barns as well, that's our toast for Maddie. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown, past the shalings through the town, all for sake of Maddie. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. Step we gaily on we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm and row, all for Maddie's wedding. All right. All right, thank you. Oh, here we go. Fields of Athenry in the Cleveland. Yeah, cool. All right, here's another one that I had spoke with Greg about a few times. We had a couple conversations about this song. It's called The Fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling. Michael, they've taken you away, for you stole Trevelyan's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonely around the fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young man calling. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free. Against the famine and the crown, I rebelled, they cut me down. Now you must raise our child in dignity. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonesome around the fields of Athenry. By a lonely harbor wall, she watched the last star falling. As the prison ship sailed out against the sky, she lived to hope and to pray for her love in Botany Bay. It's so lonesome around the fields of Athenry. Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we watched the small free birds fly. Our love was on the wing, we had dreams and songs to sing. It's so lonesome around the fields of Athenry. It's so lonely around the fields of Athenry.
That's Jeff Blaney, everyone. Hey, if you want to use my mandolin, feel free. Well, however you swing. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. Jimi Hendrix style. How you doing, bro? Good. Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yeah, can you move a little closer? Actually. doing? I'm good to go? Am I good to go? All right. Hello. Yeah. What? Alright. Hello, all. If you don't know me, I'm one of the Quigleys. My name's Colin, and Valerie, Miss Hoffman, would like me to perform a few tunes. So this is one, if you've ever been around Greg with a guitar, I'm sure you know this. Here's Whiskey in a Jar. I just don't remember the lyrics. As I was rolling over the far-famed Cherry Mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol and then produced me rapier. Said, stand and deliver, for you are my bold deceiver. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I counted up his money, and it made a pretty penny. I put it in my pocket, and I took it home to Jenny. She sighed and she swore that she never would deceive me. But the devil takes the woman, for they never can be easy. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I went into my chamber, all for to take a slumber. I dreamt of golden jewels, and for sure it was no wonder. But Jenny drew my charges, and she filled them out with water, and sent Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. 'Twas early in the morning, just before I came to travel. Up comes a band of footmen, and likewise Captain Farrell. I first produced my pistol, for she took away my rapier. I didn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. If anyone can aid me, 'tis my brother in the army. If I can find his station in Cork or Killarney, and I'm sure, and if he'll go with me, we'll go roving in Kilkenny. And I'm sure he'll treat me better than my darling sporting Jenny. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Masha-ring-a-ba-ding-a-ba-da. Walk for the daddy-o, walk for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Thank you. All right, I got one more. And this is a Jack Johnson tune, Upside Down. I'm sure you guys know it. But always thought of the Cape and the Hoffmans when I think of this song. Who's to say I can't do it. Who's to say what's impossible? Well, they forgot. This world keeps spinning, and with each new day, I can feel a change in everything. And as the surface breaks, reflections fade. But in some ways they remain the same. And as my mind begins to spread its wings, there's no stopping curiosity. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. We'll find the things they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I found with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. This world, I don't want this feeling to go away. Who's to say I can't do everything, but I can try. And as I roll along, I begin to find things aren't always just what they seem. I wanna turn the whole thing upside down. I'll find the things they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I found with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. This world keeps spinning and there's no time to waste. Well, it all keeps spinning, spinning round and round and upside down. Who's to say what's impossible and can't be found? I don't want this feeling to go away. Please don't go away. Is this how it's supposed to be? Is this how it's supposed to be?
Thanks so much.
If we can have your attention for 1 second. Greg's immediate family and are doing photos outside. So if you guys can get outside for some photos real quick, they'd really appreciate that. So if you're related to Greg, head on outside and they're going to take some pictures. And we'll get some more music back in a little bit.
All right. Val, this is for you. Oh, all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, alas, it none but none to me. But all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for me going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Oh, if I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town that surely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips, I own she has my heart in thrall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all.
I just want to say to you that Greg wrote something about what he envisioned this day would be like, and a specific request he made there was he hoped that someone would sing the parting glass, so I love that. Thank you, Jeff. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
Check one, check. So you pick the tempo. All right, go for it, dude.
All right.
The fox ran out on a chilly night. Pray for the moon to give him light. For many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. Many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, he ran till he came to the farmer's pen. The ducks and geese were kept there, and he said, "A couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town." Oh, town, oh, town, oh. A couple of you gonna grease my chin before I leave this town. Oh. He grabbed a gray goose by the neck, threw the duck across his back, but he didn't mind the quack, quack, and the legs all wiggling down, down, oh, down, oh. He didn't mind the quack, quack, and the legs all wiggling down, oh. The old gray woman jumped out of bed, out of the window she popped her head, round Johnny, Johnny, the goose is on and the fox is on the town, town, oh, town, oh. Johnny, Johnny, the goose is gone and the fox is on the town, oh. He ran till he came to the nice one then. There the little ones, 8, 9, 10, seen Daddy, Daddy, better go look again, for it must be a mighty fine town. Oh, town, oh, town, oh. Daddy, Daddy, go back again, for it must be a mighty fine town. Oh, the fox and the wife without his cries, but the goose with a fork and a knife, and they never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewing on the bones, oh, bones, oh, bones, oh. They never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewing on the bones. J.D. Williams.
This is Mr. Nathan Day.
That was one of Greg's favorites. This is another one he loved to play. Loved to play and loved to sing. Kick it off. When I get off of this mountain, you know where I wanna go. Straight down the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. Lake Charles, Louisiana, little Bessie girl I once knew. She told me just to come on by if there's anything that she can do. Well, up on Cripple Creek, she sends me if I spring a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream if I ever did see one. My good luck had just stung me, and to the racetrack I did go. She bet on one horse to win, and I bet on another to show. The odds were in my favor, I had 'em 5 to 1.
up on Cripple Creek. She sends me if I spring a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream if I ever did see one. My little Bessie had, and she tore it up and threw it in my face just for a laugh. There's one thing in this whole wide world I sure would like to see. It's when that little love of mine dips a donut in my tea. Up on Cripple Creek, and she sends me if I spring a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream if I ever did see one. Now me and my mate were back at the shack. We had Spike Jones on the bike. She said I can't take the way he sings, but I love to hear him talk. That just gave my heart a fall to the bottom of my feet. And I swore as I took another pull, my Bessie can't be beat. Up on Cripple Creek, she sends me if I spring a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream if I ever did see one. It's freezing cold. This living on the road is getting pretty old. So I guess I'll call up my big mama, tell her I'll be rolling in. But you know deep down I'm kinda tempted to go and see my Bessie again. Up on Cripple Creek, she sends me if I spring a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream if I ever did see one. Thank you. Drive uptown with the windows down, throw an arm around this clown, and lean on back and just unwind. Summer days are made for this. Lean my way and give me just one kiss. Hit the gas and take off flying. Yeah, I wanna ride with you through the countrysides and the city lights. I wanna lose the view of this parking lot. Show me mountain tops and redwood trees and tumbleweeds and anything you dang well please. I don't care just what we see, as long as you're with me. Leave your maps at home, no need to pack, just go. Yeah, we'll get lost but find our way. Turn off the radio, we'll write our own songs as we go. I'm begging you, baby, let's leave today. Yeah, I wanna ride with you through the countrysides and the city lights. I wanna lose the view of this parking lot. Show me mountain tops and redwood trees and tumbleweeds and anything you dang well please. I don't care just what we see, as long as you're with me. Take the wheel, let me know how good it feels to leave it all behind. And let me tell you one more time, I wanna ride with you through the countrysides and the city lights. I wanna lose the view of this parking lot. Show me mountain tops and redwood trees and tumbleweeds and anything you damn well please. I don't care just what we see, as long as you're with me. As long as you're with me. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do 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 do. Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started back doing those things you used to do. 'Cause I was motivating over the hill, saw Maybelline in Cookeville, Cadillac rolling on an open road, looking out rode my V8 Ford, Cadillac doing about 95, bumper to bumper on the side to side. Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started back doing those things you used to do. Cadillac rolling up ahead of the Ford. The Ford got high, couldn't do no more. Soon got cloudy and it started to rain. Tooted my horn for the passing lane. Rain and water pouring all over my hood, and I knew I was doing my more to go. Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started back doing those things you used to do.
highway sang. Cadillac sitting like a ton of lead, 110 and a half a mile ahead. Cadillac looked like sitting still, and I called Maybelline at the top of the hill. Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started back doing those things you used to do. Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, why can't you be true? You done started back doing those things you used to do. You done started back doing those things you used to do. J.D. Williams on the mandolin.
It's Mr. Nathan Day.
I think that's all I had for now. He's used to me doing that to him. I didn't use my chipmunk voice, though. Slow it down a little for one. One, two, L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anything that you adore. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you. I said love was made for me and you. Well, Nat King Cole.
We'll see.
You take one wrong turn and then you're heading in another direction. Then you lose your way again, and you miss your destination. Life's a freeway. It's like a freeway. Life's a freeway, but it ain't free. No, 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 it ain't free. See all kinds of signs telling you where to go. Sometimes those little white lines are the only things you know. Life's a freeway. It's like a freeway. Life's a freeway, but it ain't free. No, 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 it ain't free. At a truck stop out of town, neon lights says come on in. It's time to cool that engine down and get back on the road again. Again, life's a freeway. It's like a freeway. Life's a freeway, but it ain't free. No, 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 it ain't free. And I said, no, 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 it ain't free. Thank you. What you got in there?
Sure.
Let's see how fast JD can play on the fiddle.
Hold what you got, I'm coming home, baby. Hold what you got, and it don't mean maybe I'm thinking about you. And I'm on my way. Don't sell the house, don't wreck the car. Stay there, hunt right where you are. If you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. Well, in my mind, I can see that's a mighty good sign I need, and that is why I can't wait to get back home. So squeeze yourself real good and tight, and I'll be home before daylight. If you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. So hold what you got, I'm coming home, baby. Hold what you got, and I don't mean maybe you're thinking about it. And I'm on my way. Don't sell the house, don't wreck the car. Stay there, honey, right where you are. If you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. Let my mind much grief, and when I get back, this time I'm gonna stay. No, we won't fuss and we won't fight, and this time things gonna be alright. If you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. So hold what you got, I'm coming home, baby. Hold what you got, and it don't mean maybe you're thinking about you, and I'm on my way. Don't sell the house, don't wreck the car, stay there the right where you are. And if you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. So hold what you got, I'm coming home, baby. Hold what you got, and it don't mean maybe you're thinking about you, and I'm on my way. Don't sell the house, don't wreck the car, stay there, honey, right where you are. And if you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. And if you hold what you got, I'm coming home to stay. Next time. My grandpa, he's 95, he keeps on dancing, he's still alive. My grandma, she's 92, she loves to dance and sing some too. I don't know, but I've been told if you keep on dancing, you'll never grow old. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Well, I'm a hard-working man, I'm a son of a gun. I've been working all week in the noonday sun. The wood's in the kitchen and the cows in the barn. I'm all cleaned up and my chores are all done. Come along and take my hand, let's go out and have some fun. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Darling, don't look that way, but know when you smile, I've got to say I'm a honey puppy lover in my heart's delight. Don't you wanna go out tonight? You're such a pretty lady, you're such a sweet girl. When you dance, it brightens up my world. Come on, darling, put a pretty dress on, we're gonna go out tonight. Dance, 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 dance all night long. Come on and dance, 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 dance all night long. Thank you. Oh, Jesus. From the very first time I blessed my eyes on you, girl, my heart said follow through. And I know now that I'm way down on your line, but the waiting here is fine. Don't string. I wanna know why you do your thing. Don't talk to me if you think I'm dumb. I wanna know when you're gonna come. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. No, I don't wanna wait. No, I don't wanna wait. See, summer's here, and I'm still waiting there. Winter's here, and I'm still waiting there. It's been 3 years since I'm knocking on your door, and I still can knock some more. Ooh, girl, is it feasible for I to knock some more? In life I know there's lots of grief, but your love is my relief. Tears in my eyes burn, tears in my eyes burn, while I'm waiting for my turn. And I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. And I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. No, I don't wanna wait. No, I don't wanna wait. It's my love that you're running from. It's your love that I'm waiting for. It's my love that you're running from. It's your love that I'm waiting for. And I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. And I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. No, I don't wanna wait. No, I don't wanna wait. Thank you. Jan. Hey, Jan. That weeping willow had a cry. Thought them clouds had a cover up a clear blue sky. Them tears are cry for that woman. Gonna flood me a big river, and I'm gonna sit right here till I die. I met her accidentally in St. Paul, Minnesota. Told me your every time I heard that drawl, southern drawl. Well, I heard my dreams back down street to Bolton and Davenport, and I followed you, Big River, when you called. Well, I thought that weeping willow had a cry, cry, cry. Thought them clouds had a cover of a clear blue sky. And then tears that cry for that woman, Lord, flood me, Big River, and I'm gonna sit right here till I die. I followed to St. Louis later on down the river. Freddie said she's been here, but she's gone, gone, gone. Well, I caught a trail in Memphis, but she walked on up the block. Raised her eyebrows and then went on alone. And I thought that weeping willow had a cry, cry, cry. Thought them clouds had a cover of a clear blue sky. And them tears will cry for that woman, gonna flood me, Big River. And I'm gonna sit right here till I die. Down to Baton Rouge, River Queen, roll it on. Take that woman down to New Orleans, New Orleans. Go on, I've had enough. Got my blues down in the Gulf. She loves you, Big River, more than me. Well, I thought that weeping willow had a cry, cry, cry. Thought them clouds had a cover of a clear blue sky. Them tears that cry for that woman, gonna flood me, Big River. And I'm gonna sit right here till I die. Yeah, I'm gonna sit right here till I die. J.D. Williams on the mandolin.
It's Nathan Day on the guitar and vocals there.
How about a hand for John Barbagallo running the sound over here? And the video and the live stream and whatever we need him to do. Yeah, that too. Heading down south to the land of the pines, thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring down the road, praying to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers, and hoping in Raleigh I could see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel, rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Yeah, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Running from the cold up in New England, I was born to play a fiddle in an old-time string band. My baby plays the guitar, I pick the banjo now. Them North Country winters are getting to me now. Lost my money playing poker, so I had to up and leave. But I ain't a turning back, living that old life no more. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, to the south at a Roanoke. Called a trucker right of Philly, had a nice long tour. But he's a heading west from the Cumberland Gap to Johnson City, Tennessee. And I gotta get a move on before the sun. I hear my baby calling my name, and I know that she's the only one. And if I die in Raleigh, at least I will die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Yeah, rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Hey, mama, rock me. Hey, mama, rock me. Good job, Julie. Thank you. We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. And the mighty boat was one as we sail into the misty. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the misty. When that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I wanna hear it, I don't have to fear it. And I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will flow into the misty. When that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I wanna hear it, I don't have to fear it. And I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will flow into We're going to do a few more tunes here. We didn't really have a schedule, but this is cutting into my drinking time, so we got to speed it up. I know a cat named Way Out Willie had a cool little chick named Rockin' Bitty. He walk and stroll Susie Q, do the crazy hand jive too. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Mama, mama, look at Uncle Joe, doing the hand jive with Sister Flo. Uncle, he gave Sister a dime, do the hand jive one more time. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. They all dig that crazy beat. Way Out Willie give 'em all a treat when he did the hand jive with his feet. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Willie and Billy got married last fall. Had a little Willie Jr. and that ain't all. Kids gone crazy, it's plain to see. Doing the hand jive on TV. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Thank you. In the spring, on a sunny day, my daughter left me alone, she went away. Now she's gone, now don't worry, Lord, I'm sitting on top of the world. Told me up and down no Paso, said come back baby, I need you so. And now she's gone, now don't worry, Lord, I'm sitting on top of the world. shake my tree, get out of my orchard, let the peaches be. And now she's gone, I don't worry, though I'm sitting on top of the world. Don't come here running, holding out your hand, I'll get me a woman like you got your man. And now she's gone, I don't worry, though I'm sitting on top of the world. Sunny day, my sweetheart left me, Lord, she went away. Now she's gone, I don't worry, Lord, I'm sitting on top of the world. And now she's gone, I don't worry, Lord, I'm sitting on top of the world. JD on the fiddle.
Is Nathan D.
Do a couple more. Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe we could find a brand new recipe? I got a hot rod full and a $2 bill, and I know a spot right over the hill. Soda pops and the dancing free. If you want to have fun, come along with me. Hey, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? I'm free and ready, we can go steady. How's about saving all your time for me? No more looking, I know I've been tooking. How's about keeping a steady company? Gonna throw my daybook over the fence, find me one for 5 or 10 cents. Keep it till it's covered with age, 'cause I'm writing you down on every page. Hey, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? I said, how's about cooking something up with me? Thank you. All right, we're going to finish with this little medley that Greg used to like to listen to. So, see how it goes. Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right for you. That's all right, Mama. Just any way you do, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right, now, Mama. Any way you do. Now, Mama, she done told me, Papa done told me too. Son, that guy you're fooling with, she ain't no good for you, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right, now, Mama. Any way you do.
tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues. I keep my nose at the grindstone, I work hard every day. Might get a little tired on the weekend, after I draw my pay, I go back to working. Monday morning, I'm right back with the crew. I drink a little beer in the tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues. Hey, hey, the working man like me ain't never been on welfare. That's the one place I won't be, 'cause I'll be working. Gotta buy my kids a brand new pair of shoes. I drink my beer in the tavern, sing a little bit of this working man blues. Sometimes I think about leaving, do a little bumming around, throw my bills out the window, catch a train to another town, but I go back to working. Monday morning, I'm right back with the crew. I drink my beer in the tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues. Well, that's alright, mama, that's alright for you. That's alright, mama, just any way you do, but that's alright. That's alright. That's alright, now, mama, any way you do. That's alright, now, mama, any way you do.
Thank you. You don't have to leave. We're just going to stop playing.